Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing the concept of elasticity and its impact on MajuAuto's pricing and supply strategies. First, let's define the price elasticity of demand and understand its significance. Elasticity is sensitivity of a quantity demanded or supplied of a commodity in response to the change in factor related to that commodity. Elasticity of demand and supply can be a useful tool for businesses to make crucial decisions. The example is to decide the price of goods and services to maximize their profit. For question 1, first, what is price elasticity of demand and how will the 10% price reduction impact the demand for the sedan, considering the PED of 1.5? Next, let's look at the definition of elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand measures how sensitive the quantity demanded of a product is to change in its price. The formula is the percent of change in quantity demand over percent of change in price. There are three types of elasticity of demand. First, elasticity demand is PED is more than 1. Consumers are highly responsive to price changes. For example, expensive goods like gold. Demand of gold will increase from Q1 to Q2 if the price of gold decreases from P1 to P2, even a little bit. Second, inelastic demand is PED is less than 1. Consumers are less responsive to the price changes. For example, sugar. Even if the price drops from P1 to P2, quantity is less responsive, which is from Q1 to Q2, because consumer is not care at all because it is necessities goods. The third one is unitary elasticity, which is PED is equal to 1. The change of price is equal to the change of quantity. Next, let's move to the calculation for MajuAuto's price elasticity of demand. MajuAuto has decided to lower the price of its sedan by 10%, given that the PED for this car is 1.5. We can calculate the expected change in demand. A 10% price reduction will lead to a 15% increase in quantity demand. Since the demand is elastic, the percentage increase in demand is greater than the percentage decrease in price. Let's look at the concept visually. The x-axis represents quantity demand. The y-axis represents price. The original demand, D1, slopes downward, showing its inverse relationship between price and demand. When the price decreases from P1 to P2, the quantity demand increases from Q1 to Q2. Since the demand is elastic, the increase in quantity demand is larger than price reduction, leading to the higher total revenue. So, we can conclude that the price elasticity of demand is 1.5, which is elastic demand. A 10% price cut increase demand by 15%, boosting revenue.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nurin Inshira, and today I will explain about question number 2. The first one is what is cross elasticity of demand (XED), and also how does the XED of 0.8 between MajuAuto sedan and a competitor's model affect MajuAuto decision to reduce its price? Okay, first, Let's talk about the first question, which is cross-elasticity of demand (SED). The definition of cross-elasticity of demand measures the degree of responsive of the quantity demand for a particular good with respect to the change in the price of another goods. Cross-elasticity of demand is calculated to determine the relationship of both products, whether or not they are complementary, substitute, or not related at all. The formula for calculating cross-elasticity of demand is follows. It is percentage change in quantity demand of good X divided by the percentage change in the price of goods Y. The cross-elasticity of demand between two goods indicates the relationship between the said two goods. There are three degrees of responsive cross-elasticity of demand. If both goods are substituted for each other, the cross-elasticity will be positive. If the coefficient is greater than 0, an increase in the price of a particular goods leads to an increase in the quantity demanded for another goods. The second degree of cross-elasticity is if both of the goods are complementary, then the cross-elasticity will be negative. If the coefficient is less than 0, an increase in the price of a particular goods leads to a reduction in quantity demanded for another goods. Last but not least, if the both goods are not interrelated, the cross-elasticity will be 0. If the coefficient is 0, an increase in the price of a particular goods will give no impact on quantity demanded for another goods. The second question is, how does the XCD of 0.8 between MajuAuto sedan and a competitor's model affect MajuAuto decision to reduce price? Since the XCD between MajuAuto sedan and competitor's model is 0.8, the two cars are substitute goods. It has positive XCD. This indicates that a price change in the competitor's model would moderately affect the demand for MajuAuto sedan. For MajuAuto's, reducing its sedan price by 10% would make the car more competitive, likely increasing the demand for its sedan while drawing customers away from the competitor's model. However, because the XCD is less than 1, the substitute effect is not very strong, meaning that while reducing price may boost demand, the impact will be not overwhelmingly large. Okay, for the conclusion, MajuAuto's should consider its cost structure and profit margin to ensure that the price reduction strategy remains sustainable in the long term. Thank you. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurin Liadina Binti Yaakob and I will be explaining question 3. So A, what is income elasticity of demand? Income elasticity of demand measures the degree of responsiveness of the quantity demanded for a particular goods with respect to the changes in income of the consumer. So in income of elasticity of demand, there are three, which is positive income, negative income, and zero income. So for you to find income elasticity of demand, there's a formula which is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income. So first is positive income, and positive income has three parts. First is unit income elasticity of demand, also known as unitary elastic demand, is when the proportionate change in quantity demanded is equal to proportionate change in income. A positive change in demand gives its positive income elasticity. So as you can see here in this graph, so the Y indicates the income and Q indicates the quantity demanded. So when the Y to Y1 increases, Q to Q1 will also automatically increase as well. So when income increases, it will bring no impact to the quantity demanded. The quantity demanded for an essential goods will remain unchanged. Next, we have fairly inelastic income elasticity of demand. Is when proportionate change in quantity demanded is less than the proportionate change in income. So, for example, normal goods like clothing and sports shoes. So, when the income from Y to Y1 increases, Q to Q1 will also increase, but it will be but the gap of quantity demanded will be much smaller compared to the gap of income. Next, we have fairly elastic income. So this can be set as high if the proportionate change in quantity demanded is more than the increase of income. For example, like luxury goods like branded bags, sports car. So in the graph is when the income from Y to Y1 increase, the Q to Q1 will also increase, but this time the the gap of quantity demanded will be much more bigger compared to the gap in income. Next, we have negative income. So negative income is when an increase in the consumer's income will cause a decrease in quantity demanded and vice versa. So for example, it's like inferior goods like salted fish and broken rice. So when there's an increase in Y to Y1, so can lead to quantity demanded to suddenly decrease because the consumer will reduce the purchase of inferior goods and will switch to a better quality product when income rises. Last but not least, we have zero income, or I would say constant. So no matter how much the income changes, the quantity demanded will always stay the same. So yeah, Y to Y1, the gap of the income of Y to Y1 is the same as the gap between is the same size as the quantity demanded. So they remain the same. They didn't increase or they don't decrease. B. What does the income elasticity of demand of 1.2 suggest about the impact of the 5% increase in consumer income on the demand for MajuAuto's sedan? So, uh, an income of 1.2, an income elasticity of demand of 1.2 indicates that the sedan is a normal good and it has become an income elastic demand. So that means that the demand is responsive when when there's a change in income. So for example, if like there's a 1% increase in income, then it will automatically leads to a 1.2% increase in demand. So based on the question, the consumer income has increased for 5%, and we want to know the demand for MajuAuto's sedan. So if we want to find the demand for MajuAuto's sedan, we can use the formula that I've put in the first slide, which is this. So when we are trying to find the quantity demand, the percentage change in quantity demand, we have to um we have to use the formula by using income elasticity of demand times by percentage change in income to find the change in quantity demanded. So in the question, it has given that the price of income elasticity of demand is 1.2 and the consumer income is 5%. So 1.2 times 5% is equals to 6%. So this concludes that due to the rise in income, because the income is increased, so the demand will also increase by 6%. And that is all from me. Thank you.
For question 4, we will discuss about what is price elasticity of supply and how should MajuAuto take precautionary actions with regards to potential problem with supply of cars, given a PES of 0.7 and the expected surges in demand. The definitions of price elasticity of supply is its measure how sensitive the quantity supplied of a product is to changes in its price. The formula is percent of change in quantity supplied over percent of change in price. Next, let's look at the type of price elasticity of supply. Okay, there is three types of price elasticity of supply. First one, elastic supply is PES is more than 1. Firms can increase production easily. Example, smartphones. The price is P1 and the quantity supplied is Q1. When the price increased to P2, the quantity supplied increased to Q2. Second one, inelastic supply is PES is less than 1. Firms struggle to increase production quickly. Third one, unitary elasticity is PES is equal to 1. Supply changes in proportion to price changes. Change in price from P1 to P2 is equal to the change of quantity from Q1 to Q2. Now, let's see how PES applies to MajuAuto's case. Okay, MajuAuto's PES is 0.7, meaning supply is inelastic. This means that even if demand increase, the company cannot quickly increase production to match the higher demand. Even a high demand surge may not lead to a sufficient increase in production. It can cause stock shortage. The graph explains when demand increased, price rises from P to P1, but quantity supplied increase only slightly from Q to Q1. For conclusion, we see that the PES is 0.7, which is inelastic supply. MajuAuto must plan supply carefully to avoid shortage. That's all from our group. Thank you for listening to our explanation.